And I often think, isn't it hard to find 352 ways to talk about love? Because that's all there is, eh?
It's really easy. There's not very many. It's just people don't listen to it.
Oh, well, let's listen today because he's going to talking about the do's and don'ts of cultivating love. Thank you, Reverend Doug.
Oh, my meat and potatoes. I want to know that's triple grade A beef, not pork. Anybody here been following the monks that have been on the net on their peace journey? One of the most fantastic things. Do you know, I've really hooked on that, following them along what they were doing. In particular, I love their dog. I love the horse over the people. Well, that's another story. Oh, good. I got to get myself turned on here. Woo-hoo. Forgot to get turned on. Oh, there we are. That's good. Anyhow, I wanted to say something about the monks and their peace march. And you know, you can't find peace anywhere except within yourself. Let me just get this thing out of here and get it around right, so don't pull out of my ear. There, okay. And one of the most interesting things I found fascinating is on that journey is just the thousands of people that just come out to stand there when they were walking by, and do whatever they did. And the other thing that really impressed me was all the different religious congregations and communities that opened up and embraced them and took them in. And then, of course, the one other thing that fascinated me was this one congregation in this town that they passed through claimed that they were the local preacher that claimed they were the devil's work and to stay with it. They're just fooling people and all of that. But what I liked about it was a lady from that town that responded. And she said, you know, you really got to have a look at that, because those monks passed through our town for 1 hour and did more to change the energy and the consciousness of this town in 1 hour than you've done in the last 50 years. So, you know, I think that that's really neat, and it's kind of neat being here doing the Valentine's Day Sunday. You know, everybody has a different take on Valentine's Day. I don't believe that you have to do anything special. You can if you want, but I do believe that every day should be a celebration of one type or another, especially if you wake up. It's a celebration of these days. Woohoo, like Clint Eastwood said. Grateful for the day because I woke up and don't let the old man in. Anyhow, and what we did for our Valentine's Day is I organized a lunch for my 95-year-old auntie. She hadn't been out for lunch in just about 2 years. And we got her up there, and Anna took her in, and she was wondering why Anna pushed her to the table with a bunch of people sitting at. And she had a little scowl on her face until she saw who the people were her other two nephews and their wives. And she was just ecstatic, and then Anna and I got a bouquet of beautiful flowers and delivered them to her. And, you know, people say, well, is that because it's Valentine's Day? Oh, sure, yeah, okay. But no, it wasn't. You see, because those kind of days are special, and those kind of things are special. And they don't have to be just once a year, and they don't have to be on that day. They could be any time. We just got double duty because it was there, so it sounds like it's a good story, like we're kind of Valentine-ish, but we weren't. It's just because we love Auntie, and it was a great opportunity. Okay, well, let's get on with it. Let's see what I got in here to talk about today. The topic is cultivating love and the do's and the don'ts. So let's just join together in consciousness and center ourselves and get into that place of openness and receptivity. That place where we're here in the present moment. What is past is dissipated and gone, and it passes into the false nothingness. And what is about to happen is going to happen whether we arrive there or not. So we'll check on that later. So right here and right now, we know that the point of power is in this present moment. And we just allow ourselves to know that that one eternal life that we know is God or good is everywhere present. That means that presence is located in each and every one of us, center everywhere, circumference nowhere. And in this center, we understand that the core of our being pulsates with this universal energy. This pulsation of this universal energy is what we know as love. So I know that one of the desires of most humans is to have and experience more love in their lives, and they go about looking outside themselves to find that. All the love that one could possibly experience and have is already right there inside of us. And it is a flow, continually circulating and pulsating and flowing in, out, through, around, and encompassing us with that beautiful energy that is sometimes known as our aura, because we do project that energy. So the question arises, why do I not experience more love? The answer is because of the false beliefs that I have accepted about self. For there is no negative self-concept that is true. They are all false ideas that no longer have a place within me or anyone else here. So I now declare that these negatives are now dissolved and vanish into the false nothingness from which they came. And that void is replaced by the natural isness of the universe, which is God in action, which is pure love. And know that I accept that I am a vessel, and this love flows through me and expresses by means of me in my own unique and special way. So I just take a few moments of silence to honor myself and to allow that channel that I have to be cleansed, purified, and open. And as I just make this declaration for myself, I invite you to accept it. I am worthy of the very best in life, and I lovingly accept this now. I release anything that says no to this declaration. I am a loving human expressing the highest and best that I am in kind, considerate ways, and I release anything inside of me that says no to that. I am kind, compassionate, and peaceful within myself, and I release anything that is in opposition to that. And so as I embrace these new declarations and release the old, and I know that I move forward as a loving expression of the highest and best that I can be. So I give thanks, I accept this, I know it to be so, and so it is. Okay, a few ideas. This is called Cultivating Love, the do's and the don'ts. First thing about this thing about love is really got to do with understanding and awareness. Have you ever said to yourself, I find it easier to love other people than myself? Or I find it easier to love my children myself? Anybody ever said that? Yeah. And one of the dilemmas is we think that that's the truth. But you see, that's a lie. Okay? It's a lie we tell ourselves. And why is that a lie? Is that we can't love anybody or anything else more than we love ourselves. It's impossible. Because isn't love a feeling? It's a feeling. So the only place you could love somebody or something more than yourself is in your head. Be real clear. It's only a head thing. It is not a heart thing, because there are no barriers, no restrictions, no limitations about the essence of the divine that we have within us, that pure pulsation of love. It's there. It just needs to be released. And we're the channel. So the only thing stopping that is obstructions in the channel. And that's beliefs like, I could love somebody else better than I love myself. That's a lie we tell ourselves. It's a mental truth. Notice I said it's a mental truth. But mental truths sometimes are lies. The actual truth is that God is not a mental process or an idea. God is an experience. It just is, and it's a feeling that expresses. And we have it here. So we just provide the outlet. And of course, don't find that person is going to give you love. You can't have that love if that person's there unless you have it inside yourself. Do not seek love or approval outside yourself. It's all here. And you say, oh, it's egotistical. Well, you could let it be if you want, then you got another problem. Okay? How do I know? Well, I did that. So I can tell you. We don't want to get into details. It's not pretty. Don Miguel Ruiz said in The Mastery of the Self, no one is responsible for your emotional reactions except you. You hurt my feelings. Has anybody ever said that to you? I remember one Sunday in Unity, somebody come up to me and said, Reverend Doug, you said that, and you hurt my feelings. Loud enough that her and her entourage that was following heard it. And I said, please, dear, please, don't give me that much responsibility in your life. I don't want it. Why don't you say, Reverend Doug, when you said that, I chose to have my feelings hurt. Empower yourself. Well, you know how she responded? With a frown, turned around and stomped out, and I never did see her again. Okay? We're the ones that are responsible for our reactions. He goes on to say, others can say and do anything they like, but what happens inside you is only the result of what you are thinking and feeling. How I come to reconcile this and not letting what other people said or thought of me bother me is to get the DGRA degree. But I had to go to the point of how much space do I want to rent in my head for that person and what they said or did? How much space am I going to put in here? Because, you know, I'm the rent. It isn't Pattison, the big rental company, doing the advertising in here, you know. I rent out the space here. You pay a heavy price for that kind of a rental fee, so keep that in mind. Number 2, release judgment. That is one of the things that people that follow a particular line of thinking jump right into. You don't believe that? You're going to hell. How do you know I haven't been there already? But you know, a judgment. And, you know, and Jesus said, judge not that ye not be judged. And he said, for whatever you judge, you will be judged. Whatever you give, you will get back. So judgment is a thing, eh? People always used to say to Anna as she go back, it says, oh, your husband must be terribly jealous of sending you back here all the time when you're by yourself and, you know, you're good looking. You got all these men back here that like you and all that. No, he's not jealous. Why would I be jealous? What grounds would there be for anybody to be jealous? only people that are jealous are people that think about doing that themselves. So if you're jealous of anything, you better have a look at it, folks. Okay? Which is true. Okay, now this is my favorite part. The do's and don'ts of revealing more love through and by means of each one of us. Notice I said the do's and the don'ts. Cultivate love by giving completely with no strings attached and no attachment to the outcomes. So let's talk about that. No attachment to the outcomes. A lot of people give that as a gift to somebody, and then they'll say, "You wouldn't believe what they did. They didn't say thank you, and they just threw it on the table, didn't even look at it." Wow, how could they? I'll tell you. Anybody ever heard anything like that or even felt that yourself? How could they be so inconsiderate and not thankful? Well, you see, the truth is, you didn't give. You didn't give them anything. You did not give. People got to really be clear on what giving means. Giving means without any attachment to what they do with it. Doesn't matter. It's none of my business. My business was in the giving. My business is in the receiving. My business is in the using. My business has nothing to do with what anybody else does, but the instant I make it my business by entertaining those thoughts, I have not given a gift. I remember up here in Red Deer. Oh, yeah. I'm struggling, you know, I'm trimmed down from 425 to about 350. And then these really beautiful people here gave me this really nice gift at Christmas. And I opened it up, and it was a box of this really top-end English toffee, the really expensive kind. And I come unwrapped. I come unglued. I look at me, and these guys are giving me this. How can they do this? Obviously, I got a problem with that kind of stuff. Blah, 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 blah. Holy crap, you should have seen the tirade I went into inside myself. Then I give myself, holy crap, what did I just do? What would I tell anybody that come to me if they did that? Well, first I'd take them outside and slap them a couple of times for getting so carried away with it. Well, I don't do that anymore, that's right. But you know what I'm saying, eh? Okay, so I got to the place of realizing, well, my job's only to be grateful and to accept that. What I do with it is my business. Oh. So what I did with it was to get it, open it up, rewrap it, and I give it to somebody else and feel good about it. And they'd appreciate it. Everybody's happy. Well, I could have done that anyhow, but in being a crank about it and got rid of it, but the only one that wouldn't have been happy was me. I'd have robbed myself of the joy of giving and receiving. Being of service, giving of your time, your talent, and treasure. Helping people out. I mean, somebody always asks me, can you help me out? Yeah, sure, no problem. Which way did you come in? Yeah, that's a joke there, but you don't put it in there, right? And having and living in faith and trust. Faith and trust. Remember, one of my favorite things is fear knocked at the door, faith answered. There's no one there. I put it bluntly like this. Everything, every minute of every day, you are either, this line's too thin. So you're either on one side or the other, and it's the two F's, faith or fear. So when you're going through something in your head, say, does this sound like faith or fear? If it sounds like fear, check it over to the other side. It sounds like focus on the problem, focus on the solution. Well, what about the problem? Was there anyhow? You might as well focus on the solution rather than the problem. The hell, it's going to be there. You want to give it attention? Sure, we can expand on the problem if you want. Okay? Everything we do or say is a reflection of the faith or fear. Now this one, start standing up and speaking out for what one firmly believes in. Cultivate healthy boundaries and limits. That doesn't mean you have to get this in high gear before this gets out of neutral. I always do this affirmation first. It's easy to say the right things all the time. The trick is to resist saying the wrong thing at the tempting moment. Okay? And it's good to stand up and speak for what you believe in instead of natter, 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 right? I remember a student that come up to the end of the class, the semester was over, and come up to me and he told me, he said, you know, I think you're one of the best teachers I've ever had, but damn, you're an asshole, a-hole. And I said, well, thank you, thank you. He looked at me and he said, I don't know what to think about what you just said. Nobody would thank me for that. I said, I'm really grateful. Why? I said, at least you had the courage to come and tell me to my face what you thought, rather than going around behind and making a production with telling everybody else, right? I don't particularly like what you said. And he turned around and walked away. Come back to see me a week later. He said, you know, I needed to come back and tell you. Damn, man, he says, you know, I got more respect for you than I have for anybody, but I still think you're an a-hole. You see what I'm saying? Okay? So, the last one here in this doing, there's more, but these are the good ones. This is one of my big ones. Being a good example for the children of the earth. What you're doing is speaking so loudly I can't hear what you're saying. And that was one of the things I had to deal with myself after when I set my 3 little girls up to sea before I started changing, was how am I going to raise my kids, which are a bunch of them now, and how can I tell them what to do and not to do when I'm doing all the stuff you shouldn't do? It's that simple. I decided that just isn't going to be the way it works, because if somebody was doing that with me, I wouldn't listen to them, would you? No. I decided that I would try to be the person that I'd want them to be and all this stuff. And for the most part, it seemed to work out pretty good. Okay, now on the other end of it, stop being possessive or jealous. It's just useless. Especially if you're dealing with a spouse or a partner or kids. You're not possessive or jealous. You don't own anybody. They own themselves. If you got a problem inside there with it, you better find out what that is, get rid of it, so you can see how you can be part of harmony and peace in the situation rather than contributing to the turmoil. Okay? Doesn't mean you're wrong in what you're suspecting, but you got to go to solution instead of problem. Not demanding more than one person can give. People can only give so much. As they learn and grow, then giving expands and they could give more. But they can only give so much. Don't sit in judgment. That's easy for me. I just catch myself every now and again, but it's easy not to sit in judgment for me because I did most of the things people judge. So, and this is the big one. The biggest one, if you got this, you got her made. Self-condemnation. Oh, I don't do that. Yeah, well, you're lying again. Everybody does it. Right? And worrying and doubting. Eh? Did anybody worry? Anybody here ever worried about money over the years of your life? Anybody? Yeah. Yeah, I guess, well, you all look like you're doing pretty well now. If you'd have known it been okay now, would you have done all that worrying, or you done something else with it? Because the worrying didn't do any good, did it? You're still where you are. So why bother? It's a waste of time. Really think about it. It's a waste of time worrying about it, because what's going to happen is going to happen. Do you want to be part of the problem or part of the solution? That's the only question to ask. And not bargaining or using love as a punishment tool. Oh, I hate some of these because they bring back a lot of memories. I'll love you if. After all I've done for you, right? How can you do this to me? And this is the big one I got. What will people think? Okay, and then the last thing here to close off, number 4, really, and I won't spend a lot of time on this because everybody hears it all the time. I'm going to read a title, give you 2 quotes, and that's it, because purge resentment, animosity, hatred, and prejudice. Forgiveness is the key. And always remember, you don't have to love them. Not like they tell you. You don't have to like them. Not true. If you love them and like them, that's fine. But you must be neutral. I give myself an acid test. I got a lot on that neutral list. And every now and again, I'll go through and think about them just to see if I got any feeling. And it's just nothing. Oh, I am so happy about that. You get there, you got it made. But you got to release that because that's what's obstructing the channel. Edgar Cayce, that's where these ideas come from, his book on attitude and emotion. We can possess only that which we can freely give. So that in order to become love, or more godlike, all giving, we must give that which God is, love. The essential key to this is forgiveness. You get rid of that animosity and then the channel's free. And you really don't have to do much because that just automatically becomes part of who and what you are. I'm a whole lot nicer than I used to be. That's because I just changed stuff inside. Won't get into that. Ernest Holmes said, when we learn to put away our petty virtues with our petty vices, then we shall clearly not what either virtue or vice is, but what the truth is. The mind which condemns understands not the truth of its being, and the heart which shut its door to the bosom to one who is mistaken strangles its own life, closing its eyes to a greater vision. The biggest life is the one which includes the most, not that we foster vice or place a premium upon wrongdoing, but that we understand the frailties of the human nature and learn to overlook much. To him who loves much, much is forgiven. And so it is. Woohoo!